Good evening, everyone. I'm Deanna Murphy with Sizemore Group. We are here to give an update on the comprehensive plan. How many of y'all have come out to meetings prior to this and seen some information? Excellent, great. So this is, for most of you, this is not new information. Hopefully this is just an update and an opportunity to give some more feedback. So our agenda for tonight is really to give a brief overview of what the comprehensive plan is and what we're trying to achieve. We want to give a summary of the community engagement process to date and what we've been hearing. And what we have done is we've taken what we've heard so far and started to draft community vision and goals, and we want to share those with you all and get input. From there, we are also developing a future land use map. This is a key component to the comp plan, so we want to show where that's headed. That item, as well as item 5, which is our stations, is really more interactive. So we want to spend about half our session getting you up to date, getting some feedback on our vision and goals, but then we want to spend most of our time on the maps in the boards in the back of the room. So we have a large map that has the future land use map recommendations, as well as a map with transportation recommendations, and we want to get your feedback on that. So we have some interactive, collaborative opportunities back there. And then we do have boards of all the vision and draft goals to date so that we can give you time to read, reflect, and give some feedback on that as well. So project overview, I just wanted to give a brief recap of what a comprehensive plan is. This is a guiding document for the county. This is a 20-year plan that is updated every 5 years. But we're looking out 20 years to really understand what it is that the county wants to become, where you want development to happen, what kind of development, what kind of transportation improvements, how do we collaboratively partner with great organizations that already exist in the county to continue to leverage the opportunities here and create the place that you want to live in and work in and travel through or to. DCA, which is the Department of Community Affairs, oversees this process. They require a comprehensive plan update every 5 years. With that, it is linked to certain state funding. So community development block grants, water and sewer loans, several economic development funding opportunities are all linked to this plan. So it has to be approved through the Board of Commissioners, and once that's done, then it can be eligible for state funding. These are the major elements that are required for the comprehensive plan. You can see here highlighted in red is the community work program. So the two major items that come out of this are our future land use map update, which is our visionary land use document for where and how you want development to happen in the county, as well as the community work program, being the second important element. And that is a 5-year plan on what each department will handle and tackle over that time period to make sure we're accomplishing that 20-year plan. But it is realistic 5-year steps to get that accomplished. As I mentioned, this is a 5-year update, and it has to be updated every 5 years. We have the community work program that comes out of this, as well as a report of accomplishments. So I do want to mention that this was completed 5 years ago. There has been community work program items that were accomplished, so there's a lot of success that the county has seen in this process. So we want to continue to leverage that and move that forward. And so I'm going to go over a few of the reports of accomplishments items so that you can see what has been accomplished and what we're building from now. Under community development, the team has determined land use requirements to support Aerotropolis. Aerotropolis being the community improvement district and alliance that oversee communities that surround the airport and economic development growth around the airport. The team has also revised residential building codes to ensure that we're increasing the minimum quality and level of acceptance and acceptability. And they've developed a planning handbook that has been used as an educational tool for the zoning advisory group and the county commissioners. Parks and Rec has also had some great accomplishments with the Independence Park, doing some updated landscaping to prevent crime. Additionally, they are also working on lighting, tree removal, fencing repairs, and there are plans underway to add a new restroom facility, all at Independence Park. The library system has been busy. They've repaired a roof at their headquarters, renovated the bathrooms at their headquarters, purchased new volumes for several branches, constructed a new 20,000 square foot library in Northwest Clayton, and improved and renovated some of the existing library facilities. The police department has really focused on their fleet, adding a helicopter replacement and new police mobile command vehicles, as well as in constructing a new police precinct in Northwest Clayton. And those are all items that came from the previous comp plan and that we've seen success in. This is our overall project schedule. As you can see, we're about halfway through the process. So we have spent a lot of time reviewing past plans, reviewing existing conditions throughout the county. We've spent time communicating with the community. We've done community surveys. We've had community meetings, really trying to listen and hear and understand what it is you need and want to make this a vibrant county. And so we are about halfway through where we are taking that information. We are starting to draft recommendations in terms of the visions and goals, the future land use map. And from here on out, we'll start finalizing those, and then crafting the community work program. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Madison to give you an update on community engagement.
Hello everyone, my name is Madison Davis. I am from Sycamore Consulting. We're the community engagement leads for this project. I'm just going to give a brief overview of what we've been doing for the past few months to let you all know what we've been doing to get the word out, as well as some of the information we've heard back from the community so far. So as my colleague Mary mentioned, this is the second meeting of the second series for the community meeting series. We're going to have an additional meeting series after this, starting in April. We're going to do one more in-person meeting and then a virtual meeting to go over recommendations. But today, we are focused on workshopping through things with the future land use map, as well as the draft goals and visions. Throughout this process, we've had our public meetings, as mentioned, as well as the community survey online. We've been doing a few pop-up events, and we'll be doing another one next month. We've also been engaging with folks through the county social media and through our project website. Very briefly going to go over some of the responses that we've gotten from the community surveys, so I can give an overview of what the county residents have identified as their top priorities. So, in the last comprehensive plan, there were 5 identified elements: economic development, housing, intergovernmental coordination, land use, and transportation. And so I'm going to go over what's identified as the top priorities in our community survey for each of these categories. So in economic development, improving educational outcomes and quality, increasing household income and wages, and improving employment options for residents ranks as the top 3 priorities for residents. In housing, maintaining affordability, ensuring the quality of existing housing, and maintaining neighborhood character and maintaining legacy residents were identified as the priorities. Intergovernmental coordination, improving communication between county government and its residents, improving the operations within the county government, and improving communication between the county government and the city government officials were identified as the top 3 priorities. Within land use, retrofitting or rebuilding blighted sites, protecting and conserving natural resources, and improving landscaping around Clayton County were identified. And then finally in transportation, adding street lighting, making roadways safer, and beautifying existing roads and road maintenance were identified as top priorities. So within each of these categories, you can see how the 3 things that are identified as the priorities feed into each other. And so we've helped to identify some things going forward in the new community work program, as well as some of the draft goals and visions to embody some of these priorities. Another activity that we've been doing online is our interactive map, so we can learn a bit more about where people see development potential, where they're seeing different mobility issues, parks and green space potential areas where they're seeing safety concerns from both a general safety perspective, but also a traffic safety perspective and other things like that, and just other ideas that people had for the county. So I just want to highlight a few of those things. In terms of development potential, as I mentioned, there's a lot of potential for renovating vacant and blighted buildings and bringing them up to new uses. People are also wanting diversified dining and food resources as well as different recreational options. And in certain areas of the county, people are wanting the county to capitalize on neighboring growth, particularly as we're looking at areas like Lovejoy going into Hampton, and some of the other areas on the outskirts of the county. In terms of mobility issues, the lack of sidewalks and pedestrian safety was a major concern for the residents of the county, but that also applied to roadway safety, particularly when we're looking at places with low street lighting, low visibility for motorists and pedestrians. Parks and green space, of course, people want more parks and they want park enhancements. As Deanna mentioned, the Parks Department has been busy in getting some of those enhancements, but we want to make sure that we're incorporating some of those desires into our plan to make sure that that is continued going forward. In terms of safety concerns, as I mentioned, the lack of street lighting and low visibility for motorists and pedestrians is causing issues along some major corridors. And then in terms of other suggestions, we've been hearing constantly about people wanting better landscaping and garbage collection, things of that nature throughout the county, as well as the expansion of county services, particularly in the public health arena and geographically towards the southern bit of the county.
So this is the draft vision statement that we put together based on what we've heard so far. It is that Clayton County aims to create a safe, accessible, and vibrant community through collaborative partnerships with abundant economic opportunities, diverse housing options, and enhanced healthcare. The county is a destination where the world lands and opportunities take off for all to stop, stay, and experience the beauty of our county while ensuring everyday needs and services are within reach. And I apologize, the quality of the screen makes this hard to read, so I'll go over these goals here. First, what I want to do, though, is show you the overall goal mapping. So we have several goals. We have the land use goals, we have transportation goals, goals specific to housing, goals specific to economic development. We have added a new category compared to the last comprehensive plan. We've heard a lot about the overall well-being and sustainability of our community, and so we have added a goal focused on health, wellness, and sustainability. And then we have intergovernmental goals as well as broadband goals. And so I'm going to go through each of these, and like I said, please ask questions or let us know comments so that we can make sure we're getting these right. So our first goal under land use has to do with enhancing the industrial growth and making sure that we are putting industrial growth in the appropriate points and parts throughout the county. If you're familiar with a lot of our industrial in Clayton County, it is pocketed. It's surrounded in some cases by residential. We are sharing roadways with industrial trucks, and so we're looking at opportunities to make that more community friendly and based. The second is to leverage green space and natural resources for community quality of life. And that's in preserving and enhancing those existing parks, those existing green spaces. This touches on those natural resources like the Flint River, making sure that that's part of our overall land use strategy to make those safe and high quality attributes for the community. Third is to enhance the visual appeal and quality of development along the key corridors. And starting at this goal, and what you'll see peppered throughout, is we wanted to make sure that our goals are focused on specific areas in the county, as opposed to just spreading everything out and our efforts out. Overall, the last comprehensive plan had some really great goals and visions, but they were very broad. And we felt that that was hard to then create a community work program and create the focus to really get some things accomplished, especially things that are really key to what the community wants to see. So we focused on key corridors, and when we say that, we're talking about Terra Boulevard, we're talking about Upper Riverdale, we're talking about the intersection of Terra Boulevard and Old Dixie, some of these major corridors that connect your communities and make sure that those are enhanced and improved for safety, for overall beautification and economic growth throughout the county. Our fourth goal is to focus development efforts and public investment at Mountain View and Terra Boulevard at Old Dixie, those two nodes in particular, Mountain View being the site that sits adjacent to the International Airport, and then Terra Boulevard at Old Dixie being that key intersection where you essentially get on or off of the freeway. So those being gateways into our community, those being really key economic development opportunities. We're encouraging a real focus, zoomed in focus on those nodes to enhance livability, draw the types of jobs and the types of uses we want there. Our next is to coordinate transit-oriented development implementation at the bus rapid transit stations. As I'm sure many of you are familiar, this county has been working with MARTA to implement bus rapid transit throughout the county. We have 2 lines, and there's a map over here if you want to see that after our conversation right now. We are encouraging a focus on development near where those stations are going to be identified. They're in the process of identifying where the stops will be, and so we will continue to encourage the county to focus development efforts in alignment with that. Next is to grow med tech and supporting mixed land uses in the Southern Regional Medical Center area. Along Upper Riverdale Road, there's a lot of opportunity as you connect the medical center over to Terra Boulevard, opportunity to grow the med tech, more technology-based medical jobs and headquarters and those types of uses here. Ensuring housing options for all residents. This is everything from your affordability, your preservation of the affordability, to missing middle and to higher end as well, so that we are attracting a variety of incomes that support a variety of jobs as well. Integrate the neighborhood serving commercial nodes accessible to residential growth. And this one is really specific to the Panhandle. We're also seeing this in the Conley area where there is new residential growth, a lot of single family coming in, and it's not accessible to neighborhood serving commercial. Everyday needs, everyday uses, so we're encouraging that to continue, that as that residential growth continues to boom, we're supporting that with a mix of uses nearby. And then last in land use is to introduce facade grants or enforce a penalization policy for poorly maintained residential and commercial properties. And this is a new addition from our last community meeting. We heard a lot of conversation on blighted properties, both residential and commercial, and we want to make sure that's something we're addressing through this comprehensive plan. Our transportation goals start with implementation of pedestrian and bicycle connectivity. There are plans in the county. Those could use a bit of a refresh, but we are looking for some new trail, some new sidewalk, crosswalks, really a focus on pedestrian and bicycle safety so we can get people in and around the county. That second goal leads into that with more focused on the safety component. Third is to enhance safety for all modes, overall beautification and safety of those key corridors with streetscape improvements. So that's again looking at those key corridors like Terra Boulevard, Old Dixie, Upper Riverdale, and other key corridors in the county, and making sure we're really beautifying those. Economic development can be spurred by investment in our infrastructure by the county. And so that includes street trees, that includes sidewalks, that includes landscaping, and really making these attractive areas that people want to start their businesses and grow their business. Fourth is to promote MARTA's bus rapid transit implementation and identify those bus stop locations. Fifth is to address aging infrastructure specific to road maintenance and resurfacing opportunities, making sure that is a key part of the comp plan, that part of the vision is making sure maintenance is part of that as well. And last but not least, in transportation, is to improve the transportation infrastructure to support key development sites. And again, this gets back to our Mountain View, our Terra Boulevard at Old Dixie Node, making sure that we're pushing our infrastructure dollars and investment into those areas. The next goals are our housing goals, starting with creating and preserving a variety of housing options for existing and future residents. And this leans back into what we talked about in land use, that this is about everything from preserving our affordability and ensuring that we're keeping affordability as the county continues to grow, incorporating middle income and high income as well. The second is to monitor and manage investor purchased housing and absentee landlords. It's again about blighted properties in the community and making sure we are keeping on top of that and keeping properties maintained. Third is to support existing and legacy residents in maintenance and upkeep of their homes. Fourth is to support mixed-use development with a variety of housing types and affordability. Fifth is to coordinate housing efforts with economic development efforts. Again, really helping us zoom in our housing efforts with the key nodes that we're looking to invest in. And then sixth is to support programs and policies which guide residents on a path to homeownership. Our economic development goals start with the broad, making sure that we are bringing in high quality mixed-use development into the county. Second is to promote arts and culture as an economic tool. Third, to attract high quality jobs. Fourth is encouraging young workforce development and job placement. Our fifth is to partner with Clayton State University by utilizing and expanding their research, recruitment, and economic resources. Sixth is facilitation of partnerships with affiliated governments and agencies. So this gets again at working well with our neighbors and our cities within our county. Improving the coordination of economic development with the planning department. So these efforts today are coming out of the planning department. We're coordinating well with the economic development department as well, but to continue to merge those efforts so that we are all achieving the same vision. 8 is to coordinate economic development efforts with the infrastructure and planning needs specific to those key nodes of Mountain View and Terra Boulevard at Old Dixie. 9 is to improve quality of life through a focus on health, safety, and welfare of residents. And 10 is to improve the image and perception of the county to attract quality development and investment. Our health, wellness, and sustainability goals, some of these you'll see at the end. The last 4 are actually items that were in the 2019 comprehensive plan. We thought those were very relevant, so we moved those forward. They were, I believe, in land use previously, but we want to make them more specific to this category. And so those were, I'll go over those first, which are to protect and conserve existing natural resources, identify and protect cultural resources, utilize natural resources to improve the quality of life, and connect resources to development decisions. We've added several goals to this section. One is to mitigate environmental pollution, both land, air, water, and noise. And so this is everything from the airport impact on our communities, to the truck traffic impact on our communities, to the quality of our water. We want to address flooding issues specifically associated with the Flint River. As many of you know, the Flint River floods, especially near the Southern Regional Medical Center, and this really is a challenge for access to a regional hospital that we need good access to. We've also added encouraging sustainable development practices and addressing illegal dumping and waste management issues. These are our last 2 goals. First one, intergovernmental coordination. That being improving collaboration between the county and the 7 cities, improving collaboration between the county and Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport, improving collaboration between the county and Clayton State University, improving communications to and with residents and the business community, and lastly, improving coordination between the comprehensive plan and local decision making. And so from these goals, there will be a set of policies that we're going to recommend. Those will help in any decision that the local elected officials, any of the boards, staff, when you're looking to make decisions on how this may impact the county, we want to make sure the comp plan really is a base for that decision making. Last, we have broadband goals. This is actually a new category by the Department of Community Affairs over the past 5 years or so. And the focus on this is making sure that we're creating accessibility for internet services throughout the community. And that's not just having access to it, but also high quality, high speed internet as well. And so our two goals on this are to increase access to broadband services, as well as improving broadband infrastructure throughout the county. The IT and Communications Department they have been actually working on this, so we've already had some good conversations with some of their focuses and efforts that we'll pull into our community work program on how they can continue to provide better access. Any questions before we go to future land use? This is a lot of information, so I understand if we'll have this all posted on the website, so you're also take time after this to reflect and please do send us comments. So for our future land use map, I'll keep this part brief because I'd like to get you all to the map, but I want to go over the process of how we got to that map. And so we started with looking at what the existing assets are in the community, and you can see those listed here. We then overlaid those with what the current planning efforts are that are going on. So that includes the MARTA Bus Rapid Transit planning, Terra Boulevard LCI, which we have our friends in the back here representing, as well as the Aerotropolis Blueprint Master Plan. And so we looked at where those sites are on the map. And then we overlaid on top of that areas that we have identified through our communication with the community, with staff, with the elected officials to really understand areas of focus. And so those are listed here. You can see everything combined. Can't see it too well on this map, but you can see it on this other map on the table. And then what we did is we took out anything that was within a city or outside of county boundaries to make sure that we were identifying areas that the county had control over to be able to make future land use decisions. And that's what we have in this map back here. We have started to make recommendations on what types of future land use are appropriate. And so an example here, this is South Lake Mall, right here. And this is actually a site of a proposed stop for the Bus Rapid Transit, a transfer station, in fact. So this is going to be a key site for that. The county school board has also purchased one of the old department buildings and is turning that into a venue for a convocation. And so there's a lot of energy here, and we want to make sure our future land uses around that allow for the type of development that can accommodate this new growth. And so we looked at existing zoning, and we've done this with each site that we've identified on the map over there. We looked at existing zoning, which in this case is heavy industrial. Then we looked at what does the future land use map say? And right now that's saying also heavy industrial, which may not be the most complementary to these new developments that are coming in the area. So we've made recommendations. On this one, it is a mixed use opportunity, especially next to the mall. We're exploring a category with the county now of a mixed use light industrial, where we can keep some of our more light industrial employers. We want to keep the job centers, we want to keep that economic growth, but we want to look at ways that we can bring in housing and other retail and commercial that might complement these new developments. And a mixed-use industrial category would allow for that. So that's something we're exploring in this case. That's the only example I wanted to go over because we do have our existing and proposed future land use categories on the big map. So we encourage you to take some time, and we'll help step you through that during our exercise. But our next steps are really, after this meeting tonight, is to zoom in on finalizing our vision and goals. So please do continue to give us comments and feedback on what you heard tonight. We're going to refine our future land use map recommendations. From there, we're going to define character areas, and then we will draft our community work program items. We will present those back to you all in April. We'll have, as Madison mentioned, one in-person meeting and one virtual meeting where we want to get final feedback before we take that to the Board of Commissioners. And with that, I encourage you to please go to the boards and the table maps, spend some time with us, and let us know your thoughts on what would make this a better plan for you. So thank you so much for your time.